This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Mike Murphy.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I am Mike Murphy, host of the Good Neighbor Podcast. We talk to local business owners, neighbors, friends who are business owners, influencers. And today I have a newly made friend. We met each other maybe 5 minutes ago, but I'm intrigued by her business. And so I asked if she wouldn't mind coming on and explaining to the community who she is, what she does, because she is a union resident herself, just like me. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to Karen Turner, owner of Union Jack Bulldogs and Friends. And she'll explain what that means. So Karen, welcome to the show. And please explain to the community who you are and what you do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. It's nice meeting you and being here. So, so welcome to Union Jack Bulldogs and Friends. I know that's a really long name, but what we really do is we are a dog wellness and bakery business, and we provide, natural treats. So basically that means no artificial flavors, preservatives, fillers, additives, any of those things into our dog treats. And so we really zone in on that healthy bit on it, and we kind of make and source everything local, and we dehydrate into low temps for our treats so we can give high value treats that are nutrient dense to our fur friends. So that's what we do. And then, like I said, we have a little wellness line. We've developed some paw cream and some shampoo for our pumpkins, so for the dandruffs and the cracks, especially with the winter coming, just to protect them. So we're all about our fur friends and just making sure that they have healthy quality of life. So that's kind of why we started. That's what we do.
So yeah, you mentioned winter and the dryness of the skin and all that stuff. Same goes for summer, I would imagine, with hot pavements, people taking their dogs out and burning their little paws and being aware of that. So
yeah, definitely in the summer. Yeah.
I didn't know you had all the wellness products. I knew you had the treats, but that's interesting to know that you've got those other products too. So healthy inside, healthy outside. And
yeah.
That's good. How did you get into this business initially? I know you wanted the best for your pets, but what does the story look like that got you to where you are today?
So Union Jack Bulldogs comes from, I breed bulldogs, and I've kind of retired from breeding my bulldogs, but they're the reasons why I started this journey. My little pumpkin pies, they're my pets. I just adore them. My kids and I always tease every time one of my children moved out, I inherited a new bulldog. So I have 5, and I noticed in their diet that maybe I wasn't feeding them as well as I thought I was with some of the products that are out in the market. So I started searching for a vet who could help me do more of a holistic approach for my dogs. And so that kind of started our journey, because I was noticing my little pumpkin diamond, she shed. And when I say shed, everybody's like, oh, all dogs shed, right? And I'm like, no, I can make a carpet out of her fur every night, So she was shedding. And then her mama had like bare patches. It looked like razor burn on her fur and on her face and her little paws. And I just didn't think what we were doing was enough nutrients. They were missing something. It's kind of like humans, right? What we put in is what we get out, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And humans, we're very in tune with what we do put in our body. That's why there's all these different programs out there for us, right? Well, I didn't really see anything necessarily for dogs, and especially the bulldogs. And so that led me into doing their food. So I do food on special request, and made sure that it was veterinary approved. And then I started looking at the treats I was feeding them, and I was like, well, if I'm going to give them this great nutrient dense food, let me see what these treats are, like the greenies or the breath mints, and things that help their like turmeric and stuff. What does that look like? And so that's really what drove me, was that, because I also had a little pup. I call him Tinkers, and he had seizures. And so I needed to be able to kind of help him with his seizures, and stop giving him so much meds. I know he did need meds, but what can I do to kind of prevent these things from happening and giving a better quality of life to my pups and longevity, because we're kind of cutting back some longevity for the way we maybe feed them and treat them. So how do you go from like, retiring from breeding into this? Well, that's how Union Jack Bulldogs and Friends came, because it's inclusive. Like it's not just about the Bulldogs, it's about all our pet friends, right? We look at them as family members. So, we would do the best for them. So that's why we kind of just evolved into, like I said, Union Jack Bulldogs and Friends, and try to be inclusive to all the animals out there. So that's how I started this journey, Mike.
I mean, everybody's got a story, and that's why we get together here. So I'm happy to hear yours. You mentioned, I think you said 5 dogs you have now. I saw the names Diamond, Harley, and Marlo on your website. At least those 3. So who do you have currently?
Harley, Diamond, Marlo, Pearl, and Gem.
Okay.
So Harley and Diamond and Marlo were the ones that Marlo had his little seizures, and then Harley's, they were the ones that had a lot more allergies, environmental allergies, and reactions to medicine that was provided to them and stuff. So they're my primary focus on their nutrients. Not that Gem and Pearl don't get it, right? But they're kind of the ones that really started, because they're my oldest pups. So and everybody that came into the fold, into our house, just kind of went on with how we feed and how we treat them and give them their yummies. So but yeah, so yeah, 5. But yeah, so like I said, my kids tease me because I have 5 children, and they all out. Yeah, so
I just picture the level of noise when somebody rings the doorbell. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're quiet when the doorbell rings, or maybe chaos ensues. I don't know, which is it.
So I'm going to tell you that I have a few barkers, and I have some that are not. Harley Barley is definitely the barker out of them. And so, yeah, the doorbell rings, and all I hear is skitter scatter on the wood floors of all their nails, and they just want to greet and meet everybody. So I think it's more intimidating for the person that came up to my door, because the pups think everybody's their friend. And so, of course, they want to give a lot of love. And so chaos. That's how that looks.
It's like being in a ball pit, except balls, instead of the balls at like a McDonald's playland. You're surrounded by fur and kisses. I'm imagining it's kind of intimidating to some people, but fun to others. I think it would be great, because I am a dog person. So I'll have to come meet them sometime.
Yes, you'll have to meet all my little pumpkin pies. So
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
So the treats that you make, do you make them at home in your own kitchen, or do you have a kitchen that you sub out somewhere? What's that look like?
Yeah, so I call it a cottage kitchen. So we make them all from my own home. We use the same process that you would expect from a commercial kitchen. The safety measures, the bleaching, the gloves, the things that would be, like I said, what you expect from someone who's doing it in a commercial. So we use the same hygiene and production controls that you would find in that kitchen. Just because, again, I'm more concerned with some of the cross-contamination that can happen. So we have grain-free line, and then we have, ones that with grain, which is oats. That's what we use when we talk about grains, not white flour or anything like that. And so there are some pups that are very sensitive to those things. And then you do the wellness products, right? When you do a chamomile product, which is a calming thing. You just don't want any of that stuff to mix and cross. And so again, we'd use the type controls that you would find in a commercial kitchen. We just chose not to do a commercial kitchen at this time because of the cost to produce. And then that would charge more for treats. And, you know, one of those myths out there is that natural treats are expensive. And I can see where people would think that, but again, it's a myth. You know, we pay great money for our own products. You know, we would expect the same quality and standards for our puppers, right? So, yeah.
It sounds like the way you make them that I could eat one too. I mean, do you try them? Do they smell good? I mean, do you do your own taste test?
So I do actually. It's all human grade material, right? They're all human grade ingredients, but I can't legally claim that they're human grade because they're not made in that commercial kitchen, but they are made with human grade ingredients. We do all of our meat and our produce and dairy. They're sourced from local as much as I can get. And then, you know, in locations basically where your local restaurants purchase their products, that's where we go and get it handled. And so, but I do taste test them, and I actually have my puppers love to taste test, but I taste test them. They're just not as sweet as a human would like, right? So they're baked goods and they're bakery treats, but they don't have that sugar component to it. Everything's natural ingredients like, you know, bananas or apples, you know, that I make into applesauce or something like that. So it doesn't have that high sugar content that we like when we think of bakery items. But yeah, a human can eat them. Just might be disappointed.
Right. Yeah. Not what we're used to in terms of sweetness, but to a dog, I'm sure they taste like a hot fudge sundae.
Hopefully. They seem to gobble them up. I can't keep them in my house. So
How often do you fire up the kitchen? How often are you baking?
I typically it really depends on the schedule. So I have some orders that have to be filled. So I would tell you that in a Monday through Friday work week, quote unquote work week, I'm probably in the kitchen most of those days. It takes quite some time to make a batch of treats, and they're all small batch made. And because they're small batch made, you know, they're basically made on demand. Or if I have an event, so like I have a fall festival coming up that we're going to be part of. And so then, you know, of course, you're going to create for that event. Couple of the farmers markets that you can find me at. So for a lot, I'm actually in the kitchen probably more than most people would expect. But in order to keep the quality, that's kind of how we do our things. Small batch made to order.
So you mentioned the events. I imagine people can find events that you're going to be at by going to your website and checking out the events link. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. They'll see where we'll be, and also what stores. We're actually working on getting into a couple of boutiques around town. And so you can, if you can't make it to an event or you can't place an order online, you can find them at some of the local retail places that we're working with. But if you're in the tri-state area, we do free delivery. So you can always get enough treats for those pupperoonies at any time.
So people can order directly from your website, I'm assuming.
Yes. Yeah, they can
Good.
definitely do that. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then, like I said, we offer free local delivery, but we do ship nationwide. And so no problem for anyone to get, you know, some great treats for their dogs.
So you have a heart for your puppers, as you call them.
Yes.
You seem like a great dog mama, and you just have a heart for animals in general, I imagine. So I think you mentioned to me that you also offer boarding. Is that still the case?
Yeah. So, you know, people kind of ask what I do for fun on the side or anything. And honestly, I bring in our friends, right? So I actually board dogs. I'm in my home. And so, yes, chaos is here, but it's just loving. They have free range and free run, and we have a huge property yard that they get to hang out, and so gives my puppers some others to play with and socialize with. So I call them play dates. So I do daycare, and then I also board from the house, and then that your dog is being well taken care of, and maybe it's a different choice than some of the other options that are out there, or being left at home and having someone just stop in and say hi to them. So yeah, so we typically have quite a few dogs in the house and hanging out with us. So, but that's kind of what I do. It's about puppers. So yes.
But we can't forget about our feline friends. And I think you mentioned to me earlier that you're starting to maybe get into cat treats as well as the dog treats, correct?
Yeah, so we are in development of trying to find ways to include felines, our little furry cats, friends, and kittens into our all-inclusive and friends, right? And so we're doing a little bit of research on what would work well for them nutrition-wise and healthy-wise, and but also make them happy with them, and making sure that we don't, again, do anything that adds preservatives or coloring or anything. So we're hoping that feline line comes out in November, right before the holidays.
Well, good. Well, sounds like you're doing everything with a warm, gentle heart and soul. And so I'm glad to know that there are people in the community that have the options now in terms of what they're feeding their animals, where they're boarding their animals, and just somebody who they can turn to maybe for some advice as well. I mean, if you've kind of got the heart for that, I imagine that people go to you for advice. Do you have? I guess let's just go here and say, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what is the best way to reach you?
So we're on all the social channels, and then of course our website. And so the social channels kind of talking about reaching out for advice. We're actually really trying to create that to be a community of devoting pet parents, where it's not just about the treats and the shampoos and the paw butter, but it's really to answer those kind of questions, or what can we do to build that community where like-minded parents, pet parents, are really just trying to give a quality of life and longevity of life. So, but we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and then of course our website. And the best way to reach me is through the website, and just drop a little let's chat, and we'll do a let's chat and see how we can work with you or answer any questions or concerns you might have, or anything that comes along when it comes to our fur friends. Yes.
Well, Karen, I'm glad we got to meet and spend some time together today. If you listening out there want to be part of the community that Karen is building, go to her website at unionjackbulldogs.com, and you will see everything that we've just spoken about, and you can reach out to her and be part of that community. And so with that, Karen, our time together is ended for now. I do encourage people to go to your website and do a drill down into all the things that you can provide and are currently providing in the community. And I thank you for everything that you're doing for our furry friends out there.
Thank you so much, Mike, for having me, and thanks to everybody, and look forward to it.
Have we covered everything to your satisfaction? Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you want to make sure people know?
I mean, we are a woman veteran-owned business who ultimately, you know what? Ultimately, I just do this because love for our fur friends. So I think we covered everything that,
Good.
devotion
Good.
and love to the pets.
We talked about a lot. So thanks for spending time with us. And for everybody out there, this is the Good Neighbor Podcast. Karen is one of our good neighbors. So I will just remind all of you that until we speak again, I want all of you to be good to your neighbor. So until next time, bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Union. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpunion.com. That's gnpunion.com, or call us at 859-651-8330.